The discussion is on Bitcoin is creating millionaires, and then altcoins are creating billionaires. I know it is a confusing statement if somebody says that Bitcoin will create millionaires and then altcoins will create billionaires. It is a bit confusing. And it could be hectic for you to understand it or digest it. Today in this podcast, in this very episode, we are going to be discussing if it is true that Bitcoin is going to create millionaires, and then if altcoins are going to create billionaires. Why is it that Bitcoin is going to create just millionaires and then altcoins billionaires? And is it actually true? There are so many factors that I'm going to take you through, and trust me, by the end of this episode, you're going to actually understand if you should be deep into Bitcoin or if you should be deep into altcoins. My name is Daniel Leinhardt, and this is the Daniel Leinhardt Podcast. I discuss crypto, finance, and also blockchain. This episode is sponsored by Brandy Digital. Brandy Digital is a UK-based company that does website hosting, website marketing, and also website development. So basically, they will develop your idea into something amazing, into something tangible, viewable, into an infrastructure. So you come up with your idea that you want to make, whether blockchain, whether AI, whether your personal website, whether an e-commerce platform, whether anything that you want to make a website of. So they will develop it, market it to thousands and thousands of customers, and also they do website maintenance and also hosting. So ensure to check the description of this episode to find a link to brandydigital.com, or you can actually email dave@brandydigital.com for all your website solutions. Bitcoin creating millionaires. When you look at the Bitcoin track record, Bitcoin has consistently shown its potential to generate significant returns, hence creating millionaires along the way. It is true. Bitcoin's track record has been positive. Look at the Bitcoin of 2010. Look at the Bitcoin of 2013. Look at the Bitcoin of 2016. Look at the Bitcoin of 2020. And then look at the Bitcoin of 2025. You can see a positive, significant growth. When I first heard about Bitcoin, that was around 2016. It was around 5,000, 6,000, 5,000, 6,000, 7,000, around there. Guess what? It is right now around 100K US dollars. Can you imagine? That after not even 10 years, after 8 years, 7 years, Bitcoin has multiplied times 10. From 7,000 US dollars to 10,000 US dollars to 30,000 US dollars to 50,000 US dollars to 70,000 US dollars to 100K US dollars. Can you imagine? So the track record of Bitcoin has been positive. For over the years, it has been in existence. It has been positive. Of course, we have those little volatility, those small volatility. But looking at it generally, it has been positive overall. So hence creating millionaires that have been able to hold until now. Of course, there are so many people who had Bitcoins in 2016 and sold around 2018 or 2017 still and lost a lot of money, lost a lot of potential to become millionaires, and just got in few thousands of US dollars. And the question of patience was then raised. How patient are you with Bitcoin? It's like right now in 2025, so many people who invested in around 2020 or 19 or 18, right now they've made a significant profit. So if you are selling at 90,000 US dollars, when you bought at 50 or 40,000 US dollars, it is a huge significant profit, almost doubling the money that you invested in. But what about if you waited in 2030? Or if you waited in 2040? Because Bitcoin is a store of value, and with time it has been proven that it grows and appreciates in value. That is it. That is Bitcoin, whether you want it or you don't want, but it increases in price with time. When you also look at the limited supply of Bitcoin being kept at 21 million coins, it contributes a lot to its value appreciation, making it an attractive investment opportunity. 21 million coins. It's one of the cryptocurrencies with a very limited number. Of course, when you look at most of these, the Nosana, the Solana, the Ethereum, the Fetch, most of them are in billions, or a lot of thousands, a lot of millions, not thousands. 600 million, 300 million, 100 million. But Bitcoin being at 21, it has really led to so much influence, and also being scrambled. So many people scrambling to own a portion of 21 millions. It's crazy. And remember, this is the oldest cryptocurrency. So whoever gets to understand about crypto, the first thing that comes in mind is Bitcoin. And guess what? We are all competing for 21 million coins. This is leading to a huge growth in price. And I think Bitcoin is going to always and forever be the number one wealthy asset. If you want to keep your wealth, if you want to keep your wealth for generations and generations, Bitcoin. Yes. So right now, where do you invest in your money in? In real estate, in bonds, in stock markets? Bitcoin is leading so far. And it's crazy, like, we all didn't expect this. We all knew, yes, Bitcoin was amazing, but the way it is incredibly making things happen, it's so crazy. And I want to be of a belief that Bitcoin will also soon hit 1 million US dollars each Bitcoin. And guess what? People are going to be millionaires. People are going to be extremely millionaires. Right now, if you're holding a single Bitcoin at 100K, you're 10% away from becoming a millionaire. You're 90% away because you're already at 10%. Because Bitcoin will hit $1 million US dollars. And not only that, but with the time, with this increasing adoption, the growing mainstream acceptance, and institutional investment in Bitcoin, it is likely to drive its value even higher than we are seeing. It is likely to drive its price even higher than we are seeing or anticipating. The further that Bitcoin gets much more acceptance with mainstream media, the likes of CNN, BBC, Al Jazeera reporting about it, saying good about it, institutions stocking Bitcoin, government agencies stocking Bitcoin, big government personalities stocking Bitcoin. It is making it highly credible, because this is becoming the best store of value. It is perceived as a store of value, as a store of wealth, and a hedge against inflation. And this is leading to an increased demand and higher prices every single day. It is becoming incredibly amazing. Of course, definitely Bitcoin is going to make millionaires. A lot of millionaires. However, now this is the factor that everybody should be listening to attentively. Bitcoin is for people who are extremely wealthy right now. Because to own a single coin, you need $100k US dollars right now. Yes, it will come a time when owning half a Bitcoin, 0.5 Bitcoins, will be huge and rare. To see a person owning half a Bitcoin, it would be like, what? Just like right now, it is very hard to find a person owning a single Bitcoin. Like if you're owning a whole Bitcoin, somebody would be like, what? It is impossible. You can't be holding a Bitcoin. What? Where did you get it? Time will come when owning half a Bitcoin is like, what? Who has that? Of course, when each Bitcoin is around 1 million US dollars, and then owning half of it is owning 500k US dollars. So many people do not own 500k. They do not, because it's half a $1 million. If you're owning half $1 million, you're rich. You know, you're rich. Even developed countries like US, Canada, Switzerland, you're rich owning $500,000 US dollars. You're good. You're wealthy. So it means that time will come when owning half a Bitcoin will be extremely huge and crazy, and people will not even believe it. They'll be like, what? Who owns that? So right now, people who are stocking Bitcoin are going to be extremely wealthy. But you know, it is hard. Just imagine if you were making 1,000 US dollars a month as your salary, and then you have to keep investing in Bitcoin. Let's say 10% of it, that is $100. You're investing $100 in Bitcoin. You're investing $100 in Bitcoin every single month. It would take you time for you to accumulate it. It would still take you decades for you to accumulate it. So it means that Bitcoin is becoming increasingly expensive, and it is becoming extremely for those people who own huge sums of US dollars, because the amount of US dollars you're having will determine the amount of Bitcoins you're going to buy or hold. So it means that people who are not actually making money right now, fiat money, it is also going to be very hard for us to accumulate Bitcoin for our future generations. Because I'm not looking at Bitcoin as something that you're looking towards to sell in the next 10 years or 20 years. I'm looking at Bitcoin as your next asset for your future generations, your future kids and grandparents. Like my grandparents owned Bitcoin, and right now we are all enjoying all the benefits because our grandpa bought Bitcoins. That's how I want you to view Bitcoin. So if you are not earning pretty sums of money right now to stock Bitcoin and own it in plenty, half a Bitcoin or full a Bitcoin or 10 Bitcoins, altcoins seem to be another thing to focus on. Of course, when you understand how crypto works and which altcoin to invest in. But when somebody said altcoins will create billionaires, I was like, okay, wait, just hold on. I need to listen here. Just hold on. Because right now, there is a lot of innovation and disruption going on with altcoins. Altcoins are now representing innovative solutions, and they are highly disrupting traditional industries and creating a lot of new opportunities and growth. Look at the likes of Ethereum, what it is doing for decentralized finance and applications. Look at what Fetch AI is doing for artificial intelligence and autonomous applications, and developers, what they are building for Fetch AI. Look at what Solana is doing. Look at what Nosana, look at what Node. There are so many amazing altcoins that are building real infrastructures and not aiming for tomorrow or the other day, aiming forever. Right now, altcoins typically have lower market capitalization compared to Bitcoin, and they are making them easier for them to experience significant price appreciation. Everybody is looking for space right now for where is it still growing. Of course, so many people feel like, oh my God, Bitcoin is no longer for me. Oh my God, I need something that I can trust my future with. And altcoins are seeming to be the place because there is still huge room for growth and price appreciation. So it seems like right now, if a person gets to understand which altcoins are the next big thing, which altcoins are building real infrastructures, which altcoins are aiming higher, which altcoins are looking at a longer future, a longer growth scope, not looking at 10 years or 20 years or 15 years, which altcoins are actually looking at being the next big thing and forever, a revolution. Which are those? When you look at most altcoins, they are potential 10 times or 100 times gains, which means that most altcoins can actually offer substantial returns, potentially creating billionaires for those who invest in early and also wisely. Ladies and gentlemen, quote this: for those who invest in early and also wisely. So, do you know how to spot the right altcoins? Are you investing in early and wisely? Are you making enough money so far with your current job that you're doing, and you're like, you know what, every single month these $50, I'm going to invest them in this altcoin, or this $100 every single month, I'm going to invest in $50 in this and $50 in this for this whole year. How are you looking at accumulating your altcoin portfolio? Investing in altcoins also provides a way to diversify a cryptocurrency portfolio, reducing dependence on Bitcoin's performance. Yes, altcoins provide a much more broader way of investing. If you're owning only Bitcoin, it means that when it goes down, you're going down. When it goes up, you're going up. If anything ever happens to it, but having several altcoins, 1, 3, 4, or 5 of them that you're accumulating, it gives you a broader picture At least if 2 don't work, 3 will. If 3 don't, 2 will. If 4 don't, 1 will. So it gives you a less risky portfolio, which is really amazing. Of course, looking at altcoins, the market is highly volatile. And if you are going to invest in altcoins, you must really know that cryptocurrency markets are known for their unpredictability, and also prices can really fluctuate rapidly. So which altcoins are you actually going to choose? Have you studied its historical price performances? Are you aware on how it has been growing for the last years? Look at the regulatory uncertainties, changes in regulations and laws, changing how people view a certain crypto. It could also impact it. Lack of fundamental value. Of course, for the case of Bitcoin, everybody knows how amazing it is, how it stands for transparency, security, borderless, everything. But some altcoins could be really hard to understand and digest. Most altcoins could lack clear use cases and also fundamental value, making them to be more speculative investments, which is really highly risky. With the growing, increasing ecosystem for crypto, expanding and new projects coming on board, new innovations emerging regularly, I think it is very, very important to know where to put your money. Altcoins are also enabling new use cases such as decentralized finance, gaming, social media, and this could drive a lot of adoptions and also increase in value. So when you look at it in this way, yes, Bitcoin is the next big thing. But altcoins for low-income earners, it is another way to invest your money in crypto and become a part of the Bitcoin movement. It can be a little bit skeptical, risky, you don't know, you're not sure of this, because at the end of the day, Bitcoin is the only and the most secure and trusted cryptocurrency, but then you need to make a choice to invest in altcoins, but you don't know how it's going to perform and all that. Most of these altcoins have not been here for years, so you cannot even track their performance records for a long time. It's a bit tricky, but then it's worth it. It is worth it. So when somebody says that Bitcoin is going to create millionaires and then altcoins are going to create billionaires, I can actually say yes, this could be true. So many people are not going to become billionaires because they cannot accumulate as many Bitcoins as possible. They can't even raise a Bitcoin, which means that however much Bitcoin will grow, people are going to be just millionaires. Because a few people can actually accumulate huge sums of Bitcoin. But right now they have potential to accumulate as many altcoins as they can. 10,000 coins of Fetch, 10,000 coins of Solana, 10,000 coins of Nosana, 10,000 coins of Node, 10,000 coins of Singularity. A lot of altcoins can now be affordable. I think only organizations and, of course, huge government officials and agencies are the ones that will be billionaires of Bitcoin, because for them they can invest in huge sums of money into Bitcoin. But for a common lay person, it could be a little bit hectic. What are you still waiting for to venture into crypto, Bitcoin, and also these altcoins? What is your take of this episode, and what do you think? Let me know what you think in the comment sections wherever you are listening from Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Castbox, everywhere that you stream from. My name is Daniel Leinhardt. We discuss crypto, finance, and these are podcasts.